There will be a new governor in Connecticut after this year's election, and a Senate race, once considered a snoozer, has narrowed considerably. Here now with our political insiders, Penny Bacchiochi, State Rep Jason Bartlett. We have Danbury Bethel. We have Stafford.
Summers and Union.
All right, all right. My apologies to those folks there. All right, so listen, first blush, your reaction. Democratic side, Dan Malloy right now. Republicans, Tom Foley. Give me your thoughts on how this shapes up. First of all, there will be a big primary, but give me your thoughts on Foley and Dan Malloy. Let's start with the Republican talking about the Democrat. What are your thoughts on Dan Malloy? Does he concern the Republicans?
You tricked me there. The Republican's going to talk about the Democrat.
Switch it up a little bit.
Well, I'm hoping that Lamont ends up on the ticket in November.
Why?
I think the Republican is going to have a better job against Lamont than against Malloy.
Why? You think he's
I think Malloy. I
is,
think Malloy is actually the stronger candidate.
Mm-hmm.
I think his message resonates better with the people in the state of Connecticut, and so for that reason,
Malloy appreciates that.
For that reason, I'm pushing a little for the Lamont ticket.
All right, Jason Bartlett, your thoughts on Dan Foley?
Well, I'm comfortable with either candidate. I actually covered my bets. I voted for Malloy, and then I voted for Glassman. So I'm still officially undecided. But both candidates, I think, are superior to Tom Foley. I think both of them bring a vision and are ready to kind of re-engineer our government here in the state of Connecticut. And as a legislator, I'm very excited about this opportunity. We've had a Republican governor for some time, whether it be John Rowland or Jody Rell. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, they just haven't shown the kind of leadership that we need moving forward. And both Democratic candidates have a plan for our state and are very well positioned to win. I think the state is ready for a change.
Right, but what scares you about Foley, though? You kind of switched up on me now. You're supposed to give me your thoughts on the Republican. Give me your honest assessment on Mr. Foley, pros and cons.
Well, I don't think the state really knows him. I know he spent a great deal of money at this point, but I don't know if being an ambassador to Ireland is really what it's going to take to convince people in the state of Connecticut that he's prepared to do something about mass transit or prepared to do something about the cliff that we face in terms of economics here. I'm just not convinced that writing a check qualifies him to be the next governor. I think that maybe that's what Penny was trying to get to in terms of Lamont, but I think that Lamont has demonstrated through his experience as a selectman and being a teacher and even running against Lieberman that he has an affection for the state of Connecticut and he's prepared to lead. And I don't see any demonstration from Tom Foley that he's ready. I actually think that Fideli, kind of taking off on what you said, Fideli has at least demonstrated that he knows something about the government here.
Let's clarify two things. Primaries are coming up. You have the Democratic endorsed candidate, Dan Malloy. He'll be primarying, right, against Ned Lamont. You have the Republican, Tom Foley. Mm-hmm. He'll primary against Mike Fideli, Lieutenant Governor. So before we get right, Nas Grable, so you had these primaries coming up first. How nasty will these primaries get? Because they're very competitive guys. Lieutenant Governor Fideli, Oz Grable, very competitive stuff. How bad will this get?
I don't think that. I'm going to speak for the Republican side. I don't have a lot of information from the Democratic side. I don't think they're going to get real nasty. At the end of the day, when the primaries are over, you're going to see the Republicans unite behind a candidate. I'm sure of that. And I also, take exception to what Jason said. We have a democratically controlled legislature. The problems that we are running into this brick wall are strictly and primarily coming from what's happening in the legislature. What we need is another Republican governor who's going to really take charge and do something about the fiscal crisis that we're in. And honestly, I've followed the Malloy and Lamont blogs, and I don't see that they're going to be able to do this. So,
but the state has had a GOP governor for about 2 decades now, right?
We've had Republican governors, and we're getting no leadership from the executive branch. Ideas aren't supposed to come from the legislature and then be enacted law. We need an executive to lead the state on mass transportation and economic development and job growth.
It's the legislature. It is strictly the legislature that is raising taxes, consistently outspending. We're spending money twice as fast as we're able to take it in, and people are able to earn it.
So we have a Democratic-controlled House and Senate. We have a Republican governor for the last 20 or so years. So do you need then to have sort of all the cards on deck where you need to have Republican senator, Republican governor, Republican House and Senate? Is that the only answer here? Can't you guys work together?
I think
Can't you all get along?
We can all get along, and we can all work together. But right now, the balance is so skewed. Look in our House of Representatives. We have, and Jason knows this, we have 114 Democrats to 37 Republicans. The 37 Republicans do a good job at putting up a firewall, but the numbers are strictly not enough. We need a Republican governor to balance out what the Democratic legislature pushes through every year.
Okay, bottom line, you have an enormous debt, right? Billions of dollars. What can you guys agree on? What can you guys agree on that needs to happen to dig into that debt? What can both parties agree on?
Both sides can agree that we need to re-engineer government.
Absolutely.
I think both sides can agree that we still want more cuts and that we need to get as much efficiency out of our system that we can. But what we're going to disagree on is Republicans just want to slash our safety net in the state of Connecticut, and as Democrats, we're not going to do that. When you're in a recession, people need unemployment. You don't just cut off unemployment, and the national Republicans show us that that's just not a good idea.
Republicans definitely are not slashing any of the safety net. We're talking about common sense principles, such as not spending money that we simply do not have. We're saying if something is broken, let's fix it. I mean, we're talking common sense here. We have commissions for blacks, Latinos, women, aging.
That Tom Foley
These should be
or Maya
consolidated.
Dilley has put forward that speaks to a vision for the state of Connecticut.
40 seconds. Consolidation.
We need to consolidate.
Should we consolidate right now the agency and the job? Can we agree? Is there agreement on that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we agreed on that.
We're going to work together on that.
All right. So let's move on real quick in about whatever we have, 40 seconds.
We need to address the state employees. The size and the scope and the pensions, and it's not sustainable.
All the state employees
Absolutely not. We can do it. We are not slashing state employees, but we can do it for early retirement.
But if you consolidate, jobs have to be cut, right?
The state employees need to come back to the bargaining table, and they probably need to give up more concessions for what we face going forward.
Absolutely.
And that's a fair statement. But I think that if the Republicans were to come in, it would be much like New Jersey, where the guy comes in and just lops off thousands of heads. And I don't think that that's a solution.
I think Chris Christie in New Jersey is doing an amazing job with the problem he had. The deficit that they had, that this man is addressing, is really where Connecticut needs to go.
They don't talk to anyone. They just come in and slash. Bottom line, the Republicans come in and say, take 10% off the top, and that's their solution, without looking to see, does that do anything for our state? Governor Rell, time and again, has proposed cutting all of the clean green energy fund in the state of Connecticut, and that wipes out thousands of jobs in that industry, and that's not smart. And so those kinds of techniques in terms of dealing with the challenges that we have is not what we should embrace. We need a Democratic government.
30 seconds. They're going to change. Dick Blumenthal, real quick. Will this thing sustain its controversy, or will it die a slow death? 5-second response.
It will sustain, and this is going to carry through right through the election and will hurt him severely.
Dick Blumenthal is a man of integrity, and the people of Connecticut are going to stand by him and make him the next United States Senator.
All right, there's got to have you guys back. We're out of time now. Both of you, good job. Going to have them back. They're getting, mixing up a little bit. I like that. All right, when we come back, folks, we'll have some tips for parents to make sure your children are on track for college. UConn professor Marlon James will break things down for us. Don't go away.